Hey, what up guys? Welcome to another episode of Happy Face Holdem. It is day 3 of our 5-day 3K staycation bankroll challenge, and we are doing like this. There's the numbers for you. Not bad for 2 days. Wish I was up a little bit more, but hey, it is what it is, and here we are, day 3. Let's run it up. All right, let's go do it. Day number 3. Here we go. After being up for the last 2 sessions, we're optimistic but nervous for the outcome of day 3. We played Monday and Tuesday, took Wednesday off to get a vlog done, and here we are back at it. Rested and fresh for Thursday, buying into this 2-5 $300 cap game for the max of $300. The first playable hand we look down at is Ace-7 suited of the club variety, and this looks good enough for a raise, and we open the action to 15 from the cutoff. It doesn't take long to get around to the small blind who says 15 isn't enough, and min clicks it to 30 and leaves himself $30 behind. Folds around to me, and for 15 more, I'm game and make the call. But should have just put them all in, being so short stacked. So we go heads up, and our first hand was 60 plus one of the blinds in the middle. And we flop top pair on an Ace-10-3 board, but the Flintstones must not be here today because we see no clubs. The small blind slides in his last 30, and we had nothing to think about other than confirming the amount before flicking in the call. I roll over my hand, assuming I'm pretty far ahead, and see a run out of Queen 4. So other than King Jack, I imagine we're good. He shows pocket kings, and we start the session off in the black. In the next hand, we're on the button, and we look down at Ace-9 offsuit after +1 limp for $5. I've done some chart study and opening my range just a bit on the button, and I decided to put in a raise to $20. Both blinds call, and +1 who limped, he's going to close the action with another 15 to call. 4 of us are off to the races with $80 in the pot. The dealers are all awesome here at the Hustler and must watch the channel as she spreads 4-3-7 rainbow, so we completely whiff this board. When the action checks to us, although we could continue and rep an overpair, 5-6 gets there, so we elect on the passive route, and we check our option. The free turn card is a jack of clubs, bringing in a backdoor flush. As no one seems interested after checking, I should totally be betting here again, but I take the passive route one more time. We go off, and we're going to see a free card that completes the backdoor flush. Although I hold a black ace, it's not the club, so we don't block any flush draws. So with total air, we check our option after everyone checks to us, and look at that. Ace high is going to take this 4-way pot down. Let's scoop it. Now in +1 with suited Broadway cards, we open the pot to $20. The hijack, cutoff, and small blind aren't afraid of an early position open, and no one is scared of that cheesy smile on my cards, and they all call. We're headed to another 4-way flop with $85 in the pot. Like I said, the dealers are all awesome here, and we smash top pair on a 10-3-5 rainbow board. The blinds check to me, and deciding how to get the most value, I opt for a $35 bet, thinking any weaker 10 or wheel draw should be happy to make a call. The hijack must have some of that, and he calls. After a bit of thinking, the cutoff calls. Then the small blind calls. He's going all in. We see the 9 of hearts on the turn, considering the possibility that 9-10 just spiked top 2, but likely not because there's only 3 combos of that would have called pre-flop, and now there's a flush draw on the board. I size up to 125 into a dry side pot with 3 of us. The hijack likes what he sees and makes the call. This bet leaves me 233 behind, and it's all going in on pretty much any river card. The dealer peels the 7 of clubs, and yep, it's one of those cards I don't think improved the hijack. I take a moment to reflect on the wins from the last 2 days, start thinking I'm going to be getting some good food from the casino later, and I push my last 233 in. Unfortunately, the hijack folds, but we're going to scoop the side pot. The small blind, who was all in, he mucks his hand after we show ours, and we scoop the main as well. Let's go. On a roll, and our stack's about 650 when we see King Queen offsuit from +1 and decide to raise the $20. The big blind calls, and so does Under the Gun after he had limped, and we go 3 ways to a flop with $67. King Deuce 4 monotone board comes out. The action checks around to me, and with top pair and queen high flush draw, I'm continuing for 20, about third the pot. And that's all it takes. Something tugs my heartstrings, and I show the queen high flush draw. Not a very exciting hand, just some typical poker for y'all. There were a lot of hands in this session that I don't show. This was just one example. In this next hand, we're on the button and look down at 5-3 of hearts. Now, I'm a fan of JAMAN Burton, the Drawing Dead poker vlog, and he recently said he found a hand that never misses. So as an ode to him, but really because I'm the small blind on the button in this one, and I make the limp call, and we go 7 ways to a flop with 35 in the middle. We see a little hope spiking second pair, a gut shot straight, and a backdoor flush draw. Maybe Jamin's right. Action checks around to the cutoff, who apparently hasn't watched his vlog, and he leads into 6 other players for 20 bucks. I double check that my eyes are not deceiving me and I make the $20 call. And we're down to heads up with the deuce of clubs pairing the board on the turn. This time the cutoff slows down and we both check to see a free river card. Having a case of too many outs syndrome, you know you've had it too. We do not improve with the jack of spades on the river, and we both check, and I'm totally disappointed that I was beat by just one, a pair of sixes. We shake that one off and we look down at ducks, pocket deuces from the low jack, and we min click the action to $10. The hijack, cutoff, button, small blind, and big blind all decide to call, so we failed to isolate in this spot. That was a joke, y'all. Not even $40 here in LA doesn't isolate players. So 6 players will see a flop with 60 in, and it comes queen, jack, jack, rainbow. Maybe not a bad flop for pocket pair, but seeing as I have the lowest possible pocket pair with 5 others in the pot, it's probably silly to think I have the best hand here. And the action checks all the way around. Quack, quack, dealer, we need a deuce, and the dealer is so generous he gives us royalty instead. It checks to me again, and feeling super gross that I even raised this pot, I check and the cutoff wants this pot for a cost of $40. But the button wants it more and bids $140 going all in, and I cannot fold and stop recording quick enough because I'm hungry.
Hey guys, what's up? Little mid-session update. Just took a break, about 30 minutes to grab some food. It is 4:04 p.m. Been here 3 hours. Yeah, probably 2.5 hours in the game. The game's been really good. You know, that ace-10 hand was definitely the biggest hand of the day. The player that I got the most chips from, unfortunately he folded on the river. He's been sitting here waiting for a 5-10 game. New Hustler Casino Live here, they're drawing in bigger games now, which is pretty cool for this place. And by the way, this is the best casino food I've ever had. I had the beef and broccoli with the sauce on the side, and so I could just dip in the sauce a little bit. It was really, really, really good. I'm really impressed by the food here. So if you're down here at the Hustler, make sure you grab some food and support the place. Anyway, so it's been a good game. My plan was only to play 2 or 3 hours, you know, which is pretty normal for me. Came down early in the day so I could get home a little bit early, but the game's good. So I'm going to stay until it's not good, and hopefully we can run it up a little bit more. We're done eating. Let's go get it.
Okay, Jamin, here's the you again, 5-3 suited in a straddled pot, so we're playing 2 5-10 blinds. I call the extra 5 from the big blind, then under the gun, he leverages his option and adds $20 more on top. The small blind calls, and Jamin says it never misses, so let's add $20 as well. 3 ways to a flop with $90 in the middle up for grabs, and we absolutely crush this flop, and our subscription to the Drawing Dead is paying dividends. We flopped 2 pair on a wet 3-5-8 board. With every intention to donk lead into under the gun, the small blind does our bidding for us, and donk leads for 15. Okay, well, that's not quite the amount I was thinking, so I might as well put the pressure on the initial raiser now. So, not to slow play, we bump it up to $50. Our plan works, and we get under the gun to call and the small blind to fold out. Going heads up out of position with a disguised hand and a pot brewing at $205, we see a 6 of diamonds on the turn. This completes some straights, but figuring he likely has an overpair and targeting that, I jam for $150 effective, and it puts him to the test.
What's up with you in this hand?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like the nuts.
He goes into the tank for just a bit. He folds, and we scoop this one and continue the upward momentum for day 3. Thanks, Jamin. Now in the cutoff, we peek at ace-queen off and raise the $20 after it folds around to us. The button makes the call, and you may not know this kid yet, but you probably will soon. This is Milan, aka the Poker Mills, a LA native that just headed to Berkeley for school and poker vlogs in Andrew Locke's neighborhood. Show him some love. The small blind makes the call, and we're going 3 ways to a flop of 4, 6, 10 rainbow. I should have c-bet on this one after it checks to me, but with these middling cards, it's much more likely that one of the blinds made a pair, so I check behind and see a turn card for free, hoping to improve. And in normal happy face Holdem fashion, we fail to launch on this 5 of diamonds and check behind the blinds. You'd think one of these days I may record a session where I'm killing every board and scooping thousands throughout the day, but not today. And still unimproved, like parts of BFE where I live, the 3 of spades puts a 4-liner to a straight on the board. I'm grateful it checks through one more time, expecting to surrender my $20 I already committed. But somehow, they all miss like I did. Ace high is going to be good enough to win this one. Now in the big blind having deja vu, we see ace-queen offsuit once more after +1 raised to 15. Playing out of position, I'm good with flatting here and going heads up to a flop with $30 in the middle. We save face from the last hand and actually smash this board on an ace 4-3 2 spade flop. I play in flow and check, and he puts in another $15 bet. With such a wet board, I should be raising here, but settle on a call, hoping to underrep my hand and dodge a spade, which we do with the jack of clubs. I checked if I had a spade, hoping to give away a tell that I'm on a flush draw, even though I'm not. I checked to him once more, and he opts for a $40 sizing this time, and I just flat, considering that ace-king and ace-jack, they're both hands that would have raised pre-flop. The 7 of diamonds is a meaningless river card, and I really think I like a jam here, but as he could have me out-kicked or could have turned 2-pair, I check, and after some tinking, he checks and shows ace-queen as well.
Everyone loves a chop pot.
Chop it up, dealer. It's time to cool things down in LA with 2 snowmen on the button. After under the gun +1 and the cutoff all limped, I raised the 25 in this spot. I really need to remember to size up in these situations. The dealer entertains us with a chip trick as the big blind assembles a 3-bet to $85. Well, I have the table covered with my stack, and I cannot win $850 off the small blind and not even 10 times the raise amount for $600. So this is a clear fold. But let's gamble just once on the vlog. I toss in the call, and we go heads up with almost 200 in the middle and get no help on a king, jack, deuce, rainbow board. The big blind, he isn't slowing down, and he c-bets for $75. Repping a good story that he has aces, kings, or ace-king, or something in that neighborhood. Not wanting to seem too passive, I let him think I have a tough decision to make here, but I ultimately, laying it down, not having a tough decision at all. Now we see king queen off from under the gun and raise to $15. Charlie's happy with this play and shows off his cheesy smile, while +2 decides on a call. $37 is the reward for this battle, and the flop comes out 6, 9, king, 2 clubs. We drill top pair on what I would refer to as a wet static board. Static meaning the king as top pair is likely not to change as the hand goes on, but wet because of the 2 clubs. I decide to check this one, and he checks back, shaking the table by hitting it so hard. Guess he doesn't like this flop at all. With the 7 of diamonds, I do a little delayed c-bet of $15 here. I can't really be telling a good story, and he quickly calls. So with 67 now in the middle, we see another king on the river. I think this is a good card. Less likely there's one in my hand with 2 on the board, and I've played this like a missed flush draw or a pair of 9s at best. So I think if he has anything and is a little sticky, I can get away with an almost pot-sized bet. He takes for half a minute, but does put on the call and proceeds to muck his hand after we show. Let's scoop another one. Here we are on the button, raising our 8-7 offsuit to $15 after +1 the low jack and the cutoff all limp. Watching the action go back around the table, only the low jack and cutoff want to continue for the taxed amount on their limps, and we go 3 ways to a flop with almost $60 in the pot. The flop comes out 9 king deuce with 2 clubs. The action checks to me, and with only a couple of backdoor draws, I'm going to bet at this one, having all the kings in my range and being the pre-flop aggressor. I go nearly half pot at $25. The low jack decides he's had enough and moves out of the way, and the cutoff decides that 25 is not enough and min clicks it to 50. Weird spot we're in here. I'm guessing he is saying he has a king, but why such a small raise? Maybe he's on the flush draw trying to build the pot? We call here and see a turn of the jack of spades. If he was on a flush draw, this card did not help him. He decides to lead out really small for 25 into this pot of over 150. So we make the easy call and head to the river, trying to understand what he may be holding. The 3 of hearts on the river is a total brick, and this time he checks to us. Running through the hand, I conclude at the moment that he's on a missed flush draw and won't call any bet. He had something like jack 10 and turned a pair. I don't want to bet so cheap that he calls. I settle on $80 after remembering an earlier hand where this player doesn't like to put more than 10 chips into the pot at any given time. If I get called, it's not too big of a hit, but if the bet is large enough to put pressure on this player type, then let's do it. He takes for nearly a full minute before exposing king 10 offsuit and mucking his hand. In the moment I ask him what he showed because I didn't see it, after he told me, I nearly showed the bluff but decided, like my mom taught me, to keep my cards down when I have nothing nice to show. Seeing a middling pocket pair on the button and only under the gun limping, we raise the 20 with our 6s and get called in 2 places, by the small blind and under the gun. 3 ways to a flop, which is way more manageable than 6 or 7. We see king 4-4 rainbow. Overall, I think this is a pretty good flop for us and can rep all the kings, although a 4 is totally in the calling range of the blind or a limp call range from under the gun. Under the gun decides to take the betting lead on this one and donk leads into us for $25. Not wanting to fold to 1 bet, we make the call. The small blind folds and we go heads up to a 9 of hearts on the turn. Under the gun is not slowing down but does not size up either and puts the same bet of $25 out there, and I make the call. Looking back, this is a blocker bet that I didn't pick up on at the time and could have put him in a bad spot with a hefty raise right there. So off to the river, with the queen of spades, he checks to me. I miss a second opportunity to blast away at this pot and check behind. He rolls over ace king off for a monster, to which he only limp Called. Pre. Nice hand. We seat change and watch +2 the low jack and the button call our early position raise at $20 with pocket nines. The small blind is short stack and sees an opportunity to strike, so he moves all in for $20 more, and one by one, we all make the call. So 5 ways to a bloated pot. We double check that we don't have aces, and see ace 6-3 with 2 clubs on the flop. Not a flop I wanted to see 5 ways. Assuming at least the small blind has 1 ace, I check, and everyone decides to check behind me. Yes, a free turn card. It comes to 7 of clubs. Interesting card giving us a backdoor flush, completing the 4-5 straight, and putting a few more draws out there. Sticking to my flop thinking, I check. The low jack, however, makes a $30 bet, so tiny compared to this pot. The button calls, and I'm calling this as well, as we now have a $90 side pot and get the 5 of clubs on the river. Well, now there's a 4-liner to a straight flush draw on board, so no reason to bet, and everyone else agrees. When the action checks through, we announce our 9-high flush, and by some miracle, that's good enough to scoop the side and the main for 290 Charlie chips. We open this pot to $15 from the cutoff with a suited connector, 8-7 of spades. Both blinds want to play with me, and they both make the call, putting this pot at $45. And we get a decent flop for both our hand and our perceived range of 3 king 5 with 2 spades. The big blind decides to donk lead into me for $35. Now, I'm not sure I've seen so much donk leading since last June playing in an Indian casino. I still don't totally understand what hands players do this with. There's one to study for me. I gladly make the call, and so does the small blind. Now with 150 in the pot, the deuce of diamonds doesn't change much, but does complete ace 4 and 6-4 for the straight, and the action, it's going to check through. So off to the river, where what lives? That's right, without the river there are no fishes, and we complete our flush with a queen. When the action checks to me, I want to go for some value as I've been getting better about river bets. Here, I think one or both players can have a king after the flop action, so I elect for $45, giving one or both of them a good price to call. The big blind indeed likes the price. We show him the bad news, and he says king. Let's scoop. We stick around and play for maybe another hour. Then it's time to rack up and call an end to day 3 of our 5-day bankroll challenge.
So what up, guys? End of session update. This is the end of day 3 of our 5-day 3K staycation bankroll challenge. And hey, not bad today. Didn't quite get our goal, but we were in for 300. We were out for 790, so a profit of 490. The biggest stack I had was 812 today, so it would have been a 512 profit was the biggest, and it got swingy as you saw in there. So, but anyways, so I'll take the cash on this one. I'll put all the hourlies up there. I think it was like 5.5, almost 6 hours of play today. So really a grind, but gonna be back tomorrow for day 4. Looking forward to it. And day 5, we're gonna wrap up with Wolfgang Poker and Next Gen Poker right here at the Hustler Casino. So if you made it this far, smash the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment down below. I really appreciate it. And don't forget, wash your hands.